I can already tell you this intake is very streetable, and it seems even peppier at low RPMs than my dual plane. Unfortunately, as soon as I installed it, it started to leak from that back China wall. So we're going to pull this thing off, see if I indeed screwed something up installing it, if it's the intake's fault, or maybe there's a compromise. One thing I really like about this intake is that you got coolant plugs in the front and you got two in the back. So I'm going to take these out and just blow some air through them to try to get the rest of the coolant out. That way when I pull the intake off, hopefully I won't get any coolant into the valley. Pretty effective. Unfortunately, the gasket ripped when I took it off. That's a $30 mistake, at least. You can see where the oil was making it out the back. It's looking like I just didn't build up enough RTV. And then over to the intake. Let's give it a wipe. I guess this doesn't really tell us anything, but I'm just gonna put a little RTV on this side and more on that side. I'll clean everything up, put the new gaskets and RTV on, and slam it back together. Moment of truth. We're super close to being done, but I won't be able to crank it up because it's too late. So we'll figure out in the morning if this car will make it to work or not. I'm happy to say the car made it to work the next day, and it's continued to make it to work for the past week. It's a week later. The oil leak went away. I'll admit it, I'm a once bit, twice shy kind of a guy. As soon as I have a problem, that's just the way it is, and I kind of assume that's the way it's always going to be. So anytime I pull this intake off, I'm going to put, the RTV on the block side of the China wall, and then I'll flip the intake manifold over and make sure I get the forward and aft China wall on the intake. I don't think I'll do that with any other intake. It's just this one is actually made in China. I don't think it's built as well as an Edelbrock or a Wyand or any of the other American brands. But for the dollar bills, I'm very happy. I've seen this intake as cheap as $180 on eBay. When I bought it, it was $200. This is 2023. I don't know what the prices are going to do, but super happy. It's a single plane, high-rise intake manifold for a 351 Windsor. And I've done a few cam swaps on this engine just for fun. They're all roller cams, they don't go bad. I just change them because I got spare money or whatever the case. And you can feel a difference and all, but the biggest difference I've felt in this engine has been putting this intake on. It's still super drivable. I drive it idle to 3,000. I have not gotten on it. I have a few more tangents to go off on, but if you're gonna shut off the video here, I just want to say before you do that this intake on a daily driver 351 Windsor is very good. It drives better now than it ever has. Okay, first tangent. I have a pretty large cowl hood. I think that's a 3.5, and I used to run a 1-inch carb spacer, and once I put this intake on, I couldn't shut the hood, so I had to take the spacer off, and then I even had to shave the all thread down to where it's flush with the wing nut, and now I can shut the hood, but it is tight. So you will need a cowl hood, no hood, or to cut a hole in your hood if you're going to buy this intake for a foxbody Mustang. The next thing I wanted to mention is just look at the difference. This is the Edelbrock intake that was on. Now it's on the Economy Plus motor. And on Economy Minus, this thing really sticks up really far. And the other tangent is slipping my mind right now. I'll be back in a second. And I just remembered, I believe this is the last tangent. Just to put the combo out there, this is a huge hodgepodge of a combination. You got a 625 Demon carburetor. I know, it doesn't really match anything. You got the large intake manifold going to World Windsor Junior heads, which according to Richard Holdener, they're just slightly better than junkyard GT40s. Like a pair of ported GT40s would probably be just as good or better than these heads. I didn't know that when I bought them. It is what it is. I have the XE274HR comp cam. It's tough to say. I believe, I'll correct it if I'm wrong, I think it's a 555, 565 lift, a 224, 232 duration at 50 with some really fast lobes. I can't remember what the advertised duration is. And then I think it's a 114 LSA. Going to shorty headers. So yeah, I know this thing's real weird, but it drives the best it ever has for this big intake. And then if you do follow the channel, just gee whiz, I got a double pumper carburetor I'm gonna have to go through. Doesn't have a choke, obviously. And it'll go on here eventually. But honestly, I'll probably get the Economy Plus motor in before I even get that carburetor on this engine. All right, I'm gonna try to wrap this video up for real this time. I can't speak to the dyno numbers or the ETs with this intake. I never can, I know. But if you are thinking about, if you were afraid to do a single plane intake because you thought it would kill the drivability like I thought it would, it doesn't. This thing runs so happy. So if you got the extra $200 and you're already wanting to do it, I would say go for it, provided you got the hood clearance. I'm sure there's something I'm forgetting, but that's gonna have to be okay. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.